Documentary filmmaker and conservative activist Chris Rufo has been effectively exposing critical race theory for what it is, sounding the warning for the past year, and naturally, the woke left can't stand that. So the Washington Post did a long hit piece on him. The slant of it was that the teaching of critical race theory was being used by Republicans, not because it's evil and racist, which it is, but because they see political promise in making it a wedge issue to use for taking back Congress in 2022. And they made Rufo out to seem manipulative when he's simply running a public persuasion campaign, not by lying about CRT, but telling the truth about it. Rufo challenged what they said, and WAPO, Washington Post, ended up having to heavily redact their story. They had to reverse one of their key accusations against him, and they had to admit to out-and-out fabricating a timeline of events that was central to their story. They also had to admit they didn't have an audio recording or a transcript of the fake quotes that they had used. Let me say that again. The Democracy Dies in Darkness Washington Post essentially admitted that they fabricated parts of a major news story in order to smear a guy fighting far-left ideology. Now, if you still believe they are unbiased or even that they're journalists, I've got a voting machine to sell you. Still, the clarification they printed at the end of their revised story really downplays the problems with their piece. All they said was this, quote, "This report has been changed to clarify the sequence of events that followed Rufo's appearance on Fox News last summer. In addition, the story adds a clarification from the Cupertino superintendent that a lesson was presented once before it was canceled." When Rufo also called out Joy Reid of MSNBC for denouncing him by name multiple times and suggested that she lacked the courage to invite him on her show, Reid, who is maybe the most racist person on television, if it had to be narrowed down to just one, then tweeted, quote, "This is a weirdly aggressive way to get yourself on TV, Christopher. Why not just contact my booking producers like a normal person rather than going with the white man demands option? I never even heard of you until all of this happened and your plot to rebrand CRT." This person views everything from the lens of her own bigotry. Rufo appeared on Tucker Carlson's show Tuesday night and said that he's eating these hit pieces for breakfast and they're really not fazing him at all. He's laser focused on his mission.
I think it really shows that we're having an impact. We've woken up millions of parents to the dangers of critical race theory. They're now starting to take action in school boards across the country, and these neo-racist bigots are starting to get worried. Regimes in the 20th century tried this approach of equity. It left body counts in the tens of millions, and we shouldn't try it here. There's no chance that this will succeed, and we have to know exactly where it's starting, which is in our schools.
Rufo is slightly off about one thing. Historians say the body count was in the hundreds of millions, and the slaughter continues to this day in some countries. Chris Rufo also pointed out that it's important to recognize the difference between equality and equity. The former means equal protection under the law, while the latter, though it might sound good and soft and fuzzy, it really means something totally different. It means that they're trying to divide and conquer by forcing groups to compete against each other. Now, in related news, you may recall a few months ago that teachers in Loudoun County, Virginia, were doxing parents for not being sufficiently woke. Well, now 2 parents were arrested Tuesday at a meeting of the Loudoun County, Virginia School Board. One who didn't want to go quietly was roughed up and tackled to the floor. So many angry parents had shown up to put the loud in Loudoun and protest the teaching of critical race theory as well as a proposed new transgender policy that the school board first called for a 5-minute recess to let things cool down, and then they just chose to adjourn the meeting and send everybody home. Well, that didn't sit real well with some of the parents who had wanted to speak. Police were brought in to arrest the ones who wouldn't leave, arrest them for trespassing, and it got contentious. Parents were demanding board members resign over their support of CRT. A total of 259 parents were signed up to make public comment, and only 51 got to speak. When board members filed out of the room after adjourning, parents chanted, "Shame on you," Shame on you. And they also sang the Star-Spangled Banner. One after another, while they had the chance, parents took to the microphone. Demographically, it was a largely white crowd, but not all white. Black parents are upset by this just as much, as it teaches black children that they are victims and losers who have to have some intervention. You know, at another board meeting with the Loudoun County last month, this mom had this to say.
CRT is racist. It is abusive. It discriminates against one's color. Let me educate you. An honest dialogue does not oppress. An honest dialogue does not implement hatred or injustice. It's to communicate without deceiving people. Today, we don't need your agreement. We want action and a backbone for what we asked for today, to ban CRT. We don't want your political advertisement to divide our children or belittle them. Think twice before you indoctrinate such racist theories. You cannot tell me what is or is not racist. Look at me.
I'm so glad we have parents like her willing to speak up for their children and their country. Now, the meeting this week did get rowdy, and I think it would have been better not to see fighting and booing. But all of this illustrates what happens when people get pushed too far, especially where their kids are concerned. Parents are realizing that when it comes to the education of their children, school boards aren't even giving them a seat at the table. But school boards are supposed to be answerable to them. Policies they vehemently disagree with are being shoved down their throats by progressives who just keep moving the goalpost further and further left. And parents in particular, well, they're just plain sick of it. It's great to see that pushing back against the radical left agenda is waking more people up. Parents need to stay pedal to the metal on this and any other school issue that they've got a problem with. To borrow a word from President Trump, it seems that finally, on the issue of critical race theory, we are winning. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll comment and then subscribe to the channel below and click the notification bell for more videos. Those things really help get our videos viewed by more people. We're going to be live streaming on Friday about 1 p.m. Central, so click the link in the description. That'll give you a notification when we're live. And if you want more of my news analysis and commentary, sign up for my newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. It's completely free. That's it for this edition of The Breakdown. I'm Mike Huckabee.